It was 120 years ago that your parish was established, and obviously many years later in the 1950s and 60s, the thoughts of this particular building was constructed, and it's a beautiful space. As a result, what our goal is to try to restore not only this space, but as Father has said, restoring the entire community, bringing people closer to Jesus Christ through not just repairs of buildings, but building relationships with each other. So what I'm going to do this morning is just ask you to open the folder. You'll see that pages are numbered in the upper right-hand corner. If you will follow along, I'm not going to read each page or each detail, but I want to touch on some light points. In this first page called Our Treasured Home, you're going to have a chance to read about why this parish may be important to you and why this particular church building has significance. In the middle, below the 3 paragraphs at the top, you're going to see the ambitious $1,365,867 goal. But obviously, Father has announced a gigantic leap to get us at $511,000 of that. So that reduces us down into the $800,000 range, which is a tremendous jumpstart. The next several paragraphs all begin with important words: prayer, participation, commitment, trust and hope. Prayer has to lead everything we do, or this will not work. And that's why that prayer is so important, that you're praying that each day, that you're here at liturgy, that you're also doing this at home or in meetings. Participation is the invitation for everyone to join in. Commitment is inviting you to offer a commitment that's above and beyond what you offer in terms of the Sunday support for the day-to-day operations. And those final two are very important as well: trust and hope. We have to trust that whatever decision we make in faith, God will protect us. God will help us to get through this entire process, to restore the church, but also protect us in terms of our family. And hope. We have to hope that we can reach that goal. And with your help, we're going to be able to do that. So the second to the last paragraph on that first page has an important sentence for everyone. What does God want me to contribute to our campaign, rather than what can I possibly spare for this ambitious project? And that's the challenge for each of us to make. In terms of page 2 now, the capital campaign objectives are listed. And we first and foremost want to tell you we're grateful for your time, your talent, and your financial support to offer what you can to this parish. And that's obviously before this effort has started. We're really built on the sense of gratitude. The second paragraph talks about the importance of making sure that you spread this out over a period of time and don't feel that you have to sit down today or in the coming days and write a check. The beauty of an effort like this is that you're going to have some flexibility to offer your support over a period of time. The bottom box describes the campaign objectives, and if any of you can remember the last several weeks of coming to church and seeing the lifts doing the work was preceded to try to prevent what occurred last January with what I understand was a warm temperature, strong rain. It rained in and hurt the facility in terms of the tuck pointing, leaking water, etc. So your leaders had the foresight to say, let's remedy that now before one of those rains of the century that we keep hearing about shows up next winter and does even more damage. So that's why the work is being done right now. And that's part of the Priority 1 projects that you'll see in the box. The next page, page 3, answers a question, and it also responds to a statement you might have. And let me begin by saying every one of you is blessed differently. Each of you has a different capacity to respond, and that's very personal and it's very private. Only you can decide that. But this chart on page 3 indicates that question: what does the church need to get this done? And then the statement, please don't tell me what I should contribute. It's really important that you're given an idea of a chart, And so this particular chart, if you look at the columns of numbers from left to right, the first column talks about the idea of a commitment over the 3-year period. The next column in red provides a direction in terms of an optional payment. And I want to stress that's optional. If you choose to give 10% down, the remaining columns, weekly, monthly, and annual, offer you that 90% that remains spread out over that time. If you don't have the capacity to offer that 10%, you don't have to do that. But what will happen to the weekly, monthly, and annual amounts is those will rise slightly. Now let's go to page 4 and look at how can you offer your financial support. And here's a variety of different ways, and I'm just going to touch very lightly. It's not only your financial support, but it could also be potentially your professional support, and we'll get at that in a moment. That first paragraph that describes cash gifts doesn't literally mean filling out and handing your decision in by $10s and $20 bills. That's a bit dangerous. But what it says is that you can write a check and spread that out over the next several years through the 36 months. You can do it by online giving. There's going to be a tool in the envelope system that will each month give you a chance to put something in for this particular project. So you can pace this the way you want. That paragraph about appreciated property simply means anything that's increased in value from when you purchased it. And there are a number of different options in there. For those who are 70 and a half and older, or age 72 and older, you know you have an opportunity to contribute from your retirement fund after age 70 and a half. After 72 and a half, 72, you have to take that distribution according to federal law. So there's a brief description of that. There's another paragraph talking about net unrealized stock options, and then this area of employee matching funds. You may either be retired from a company or work for a company that has a matching gift program. If you do, please pursue that because your contribution to the church could very well be matched by the company, and you want to check into that based on your circumstances. And then finally, this contributed labor or materials. There may be opportunities, first and foremost, to keep the work here in the area, to not bring contractors or subcontractors in. We need to keep the people in this community and in the immediate area working. And some of those people may be willing to offer their labor or their materials as a contribution rather than writing a check or offering a commitment. So we want to welcome that consideration. At the bottom, please know that good counsel is essential. We're not here today as financial planners or financial advisors. Nothing legal here. What you may need to do, and we hope you'll do, is talk to your accountant, talk to your financial planner, and if you don't have that kind of help, see Linda Muggy's name and the address of the capital campaign in the bottom paragraph. Linda has a list of your own parishioners who are willing to offer their services as volunteers, not for a fee, to help you structure a gift to the project. So pursue that if you wish. Now, the next couple of pages, 5 and 6, simply take that stock idea, if you choose to give stock, and help you to understand the ways to avoid what's called the capital gains. That's the amount that the stock has increased from when you bought it. The way to avoid that is to follow the steps on page 5 at the very bottom, pages 1, or points 1 through 5. The real simple summary of this page, folks, is contribute the stock to the church and let them sell it. If you sell the stock and then have the proceeds sent to the church, you're liable for those capital gains in most instances. So pursue that if that's an interest of yours. On page 6, there's more detail about the idea of contributions from your IRA account. Now page 7, 3 important questions. Why us? Why now? And why are we inviting you to do at this point? Well, certainly, why us? It's our chance, since we're standing on the shoulders of those who built and paid for this facility and all the other facilities on the campus, it's our chance now to carry that on and secure this building and the other spaces. Why now? Costs will only increase, and it's an opportunity to safeguard and secure St. Joseph's for many, many decades by doing this work. And you'll see the steps in what are we inviting you to do. So let's go to the next action piece, which is page 8. I really appreciate this particular page because I'm one of these people that needs a little crib sheet. I need to have a worksheet to help me think through different problems. And this is your private worksheet. It has a series of questions at the top, and those are important questions for you to privately think about, for you to discuss with your family, and for you to maybe even have that conversation in private with God. Then in the box, the chart, it will give you an opportunity to state the specifics of how you wish to pay out this particular commitment. And these are just options for you. Would you have an additional payment in red as that down payment this year? Where will that source of funds come? Then you can see the 3 years of the pledge being presented here, giving you some flexibility. As an example, let's say you've got some serious obligations in the coming year or two. You may want to push your commitment out to the latter year or two. On the other hand, you may want to front load it and put it more in the next year or two, leaving some things open in the future. So those are your decisions. What we want you to do now with page 9, which is the final page in your packet, this is the commitment form. This is the pledge card. This is the pledge sheet. This is the tool we want you to fill out and complete, and then return this in the confidential envelope that's in the very back. The purpose of this sheet is simply to indicate your intent. This is not legally binding. I want to stress that. This is a moral commitment. What do I mean by that? If your circumstances change, if your health changes, if you have an economic change in your family, you need to do something different to support children or grandchildren, you move away, or heaven forbid, you pass away, the church is not going to hold you to this particular device, because that's not what happens in a church pledge. But by the same token, look at the other side, the church would like a commitment from you to know how they can proceed with potentially doing the projects. So don't feel that pressure that the church will come chasing after you. That's not going to happen. You're a faith community, you're a family. That's not what the family would do to one another. But offer your commitment in the next 10 to 14 days so we can continue to add to that 511,000 that's been projected. I hope that's within 15 minutes. I promise that. If there's any questions, we'd like those who want to have those questions answered to remain. Come on up in front. Father's here, I'm here, a couple of your campaign leaders are here, and we'd be happy to answer your questions.